SnowTrax is sponsored by Ski-Doo. What matters is what's next. Yamaha, conquers snow. And by FXR Racing, full throttle addiction.
Many snowmobilers don't realize that backcountry freeriding and mountain riding are actually among the largest segments in this industry. But recently there's been a development of a different subgenre of that type of riding that's really taken the industry by storm. That subgenre is female backcountry freeriders and mountain riders. Luckily for us, some of the most influential female backcountry and mountain riders have gathered together all in one place this season to put on a charity event for a friend of theirs who'd fallen ill. The organizer of the event, NADINE OVERWATER, is a name you might recognize from 509 Films, where she's featured doing huge jumps and drops in the backcountry. The event took place at a familiar location for anybody who watches SnowTrax TV regularly, Kuster Mountain Park, or CKMP, in British Columbia, Canada. We caught up with Nadine and all of her friends over the past week and got their thoughts on what it means to be a female backcountry rider and why it's so important that they become more independent and get out there more in the public eye.
Stigmas involved with women in the sport of snowmobiling is the men always kind of find it a little bit easier just to get it done for them instead of taking the time to maybe show them how or letting them try and battle through certain things on their own. It's really great just getting out with the girls and kind of realizing that you're totally capable. You have all the skills you need to be able to be out here.
Among the big-name female riders who attended the event are Ashley CHAFFIN, Megan Render, Kelsey Stefanik, SHELLEY Ferguson, and Stephanie Schwartz, all of whom are very accomplished backcountry riders and mountain riders.
So yesterday at the clinics, there was tons of different kind of girls, snowboarders, skiers, sledders in general. It shows that snowmobiling is not just for snowmobilers. These skiers, snowboarders need sleds to access where they want to go on the mountains. It's getting a lot more popular as far as skiers, snowboarders, because now you don't need a heli to get up there,
So the riding camp this weekend, the charity camp, it was originally designed because I had a bunch of local friends that are always asking me to take them out and do this, and I'm really limited for time, so I never am able to, and I don't want to take their money. So I thought, well, every year I'll just do a thing in December before the season really gets up and going where all these girls can take advantage of it. We can give a little bit of coaching. We have awesome coaches available to us, and all the money can go towards the charity.
The whole event centered around a ride that took place out of Revelstoke, BC, and it wasn't meant to be anything official. It was supposed to be a more casual ride with a group of friends, a group of women who all just wanted to grow in their skills and share in some experiences.
So my camps are La Nina sled camps. We're based out of Revelstoke. I think it's really important for girls, especially girls that are sort of just starting to delve into the backcountry on their own, to come and get in on these camps, because realistically, we walk you through every part of our day. So come out, gain the confidence. It's key.
The whole thing ended up at Big Eddie's Pub in Revelstoke with a silent auction and a dinner.
My goal this weekend was to raise money for a friend that has cancer. She's young, she's 29 years old, and she just got dealt a bad hand of cards. I pulled a few people together in the industry, and we happen to have all these key female riders here at CKMP at the exact same time, so it worked out really well. Multiple girls involved with making it happen, all donated their time. A bunch of product got donated, and we also raffled off a dream ride with the 509 athletes for the weekend. So we brought in a whole bunch of money, over $16,000 we raised for her this weekend, and it's all because everyone gave up their weekend to help make it happen. We got a bunch of returning girls every year. They kind of come back. It's just the way everyone gets together at the beginning of the year, and it's that camaraderie, and not necessarily like we have to learn a whole bunch, but let's just get out and ride and then go have some beers after. And it turned out it was really fun too, so I think everyone had a pretty good time.
SnowTrax is sponsored by MBRP Performance Exhaust. Race inspired, trail proven.
After the previous day's charity event, the group of female instructors stuck around so that we could go for a ride with them out of CKMP in Sicamous BC and get an idea of their thoughts on females riding, females being more independent riding, and what it means to be a female rider in the backcountry. CKMP is the perfect place for an event like this to take place for a number of reasons. First of all, its location is perfect. BC is known to have great snow, but Sicamous in particular is known to have great snow at lower elevations and very early in the year. Of course, anytime you ride out of CKMP, you're going to be riding skidoos. Luckily for us, they had a whole fleet of brand new 850 G4 165s ready to go. As we got loaded up, I looked around and I realized that I was in the company of some pretty impressive backcountry riders. It didn't matter whether they were female or male. These riders had accomplished some pretty incredible things in the backcountry over the past decade. The second reason why CKMP was the perfect location for this event is because SHELLEY Ferguson, one of the instructors, is actually Carl Kuster's better half. And let me tell you, she is one impressive backcountry rider. Maybe even more than Carl sometimes.
In the last 2 years, I've definitely become a lot more involved and a lot more bigger demand for women snowmobile guides, and having women just want to have another woman there. They feel a little bit more confident, and not only that, I think it's with men as well. When they have a girl that's a pretty good snowmobiler next to them, they actually start to go, what are your techniques? And actually listen, because they're like, well, if she can do that, I should be able to do that. So they're starting to really take advantage of us girls and learn things.
It seems like every time I ride at CKMP, I ride in different conditions. This year, you had to go up really high to get to the really deep, great snow, and we didn't have a single bluebird day while we were riding. Each day was a little bit overcast and snowing quite hard up in the backcountry alpine. Riding in flat, light, snowy conditions is difficult at best, but what impressed me is that it didn't slow these girls down one bit. They attacked that mountain every bit as hard as they would have if the sun was shining and the sky was blue. It certainly made me feel a little bit inferior when it came time to pull myself out of the snowbanks I kept getting stuck in.
You can always pick up techniques from people. And girls, I think, can finesse the techniques a little bit. You know, we have to get down to the nitty-gritty details sometimes, and we don't have the weight. You know, I'm 120 pounds, and there's girls that are honestly way smaller than I am. So having these clinics with us, we actually have to get down and show them techniques.
Megan Render is the newest girl to this group, but that definitely doesn't mean she's not accomplished. She's known for climbing big chutes and is to this day the only woman ever to climb the infamous 90 out of Revelstoke.
So some of the stigmas that I've encountered, especially when I started out on that nitro, was that I wasn't strong enough, that I had no place on that sled. Unfortunately, a lot of negativity, but I think guys can be just intimidated by some girls who are out there pushing their limits. You know, it's sad that there's a lot of negative stigma. There is, in the last couple of years, a lot more positivity, like these camps that are coming out, and there's a lot more girls actually grouping together and coming together and riding together as groups.
Stephanie Leroy Schwartz is known as the godmother of female backcountry snowmobiling, and that's because she's been around doing this longer than almost anybody else. She's a great personality and an even better teacher. She does camps all over the world, and she's also a clothing designer who specifies in building backcountry clothing for women.
The biggest stigma I see with women that come to my camps, their significant other has said, just throttle it out, throttle it out, throttle it out, and give it more gas, or they have done everything for her. And it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. They want to help her out, but teach her. A lot of them have no clue about the dynamics of a sled, let alone the unloading, the loading, all that stuff happens at the camp.
I know, I was just gonna say, did you try moving the clutch?
Yeah, and it was moving. Like, I can't do anything else except hope it doesn't explode.
Yeah.
Kelsey Stefanik is actually a snowboard convert who used to use her snowmobile to get her to places to ride her snowboard. She's also been a guide out of Glacier House at a BC and knows this backcountry area like the back of her hand.
Say you're following one of your friends and you don't trust their decision making.
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
If you're doing kind of a follow the leader.
When you're following women, to know that you can trust.
I don't think you can't really generalize and like women and
Yeah.
men. I think it's just on a personal basis whether you trust your friends, and that's
One of the things I noticed about riding with accomplished female riders versus riding with men of any kind is the atmosphere of riding with women is just generally more positive. There's no ego. They don't care who's there. They don't care how good or bad a rider you are. They just want to go out and have a good time. They're very complimentary. They're very encouraging. And even me, the only guy on the snow with them that day, they treated me like one of the girls. All right, well, it's been a great day. I've been having a great time with you guys, and I've learned a ton of stuff just watching you do what you do. I honestly think from my perspective, the more it makes sense to ride, even as a big guy, more the way women are riding, using less weight. Because it seems to me if I'm big and I'm using less effort or learning to ride in that way, it's going to be easier for me even. So, you know, that's kind of an interesting thought too, that maybe the way women are riding is something that a lot of dudes could benefit from too.
Yeah, it takes a little more thought. But that's the difference with us girls. We think up here.
Thanks for bringing us out here. It's been a lot of fun, and some more stuff and ride some more. Yeah. Thanks for roosting me big time.
No problem.
Sometimes events like these can seem out of reach for the average person, but the benefit of going to an event like this or going to a riding camp is so great that it's worth figuring out how to make it happen. And CKMP is actually working hard to make that easier for the average person. They're currently running a contest where 2 people can win an all-expenses-paid trip to CKMP for a ladies-only instruction ride with Shelly Ferguson and Ashley CHAFFIN at the end of March. So check out their website to find out more details about that.
SnowTrax is sponsored by snowmobileinquebec.com. Experience a ride you'll never forget. Trail Tech is sponsored by Princess Auto, a unique world of equipment, tools, and more.
It really doesn't matter what sport, pastime, or hobby that we have, there's always the desire to in some way tweak, transform, or add to what we already have. And this week I want to show you a couple of cool aftermarket accessories that I think are pretty neat. First up is a product for all that gear that your significant other won't allow into the house. If you're like me, you slam all your riding gear into a gear bag after your ride, and occasionally forget to pull it out in time to air it out. Yeah, I know, not nice. A good answer to this issue is the POG, a cell phone-sized personal ozone generator. Powered by a rechargeable 8-hour life internal battery, the POG can be set to a 1-hour or 3-hour cycle and naturally purifies airborne bacteria that would normally require disinfecting. Because it's wire-free, you literally set the time, toss it in your bag, stuff it in your boots, or put it beside your stinking roommate when they're not looking, and it does its thing. The only scent left is a natural after-rain freshness, and you don't need to use harsh chemicals that can be bad for your gear and your lungs. While on the topic of gear, gloves are hugely important, and for those of you who get cold digits when you ride, I've got a great fix. FXR offers different styles of their heated glove system, and they come in a zippered case with a charger and battery packs. Heat is distributed to the sides of the fingers as well as the back of the hands and allows the hot grips to do their job while adding important heat where it otherwise cannot be. The 7.4 volt lithium batteries charge quick and offer up to 4.5 hours of heat depending on the chosen setting. The exterior gauntlet located button allows you to power up on the fly, and the battery hides away in a tidy interior pocket, out of the elements and out of sight. Extra batteries can be purchased, and because of their small size, they pack easily in any pocket or storage compartment. While hand control is very important, seeing well is equally as important to having a great day, and the right helmet choice is going to be the difference between enjoying your day or getting all fogged up. The CKX Titan has been touted as the most versatile helmet on the market. What backs up this bold statement is its multifunctional design and special hermetic protection system, which not only caters to the needs of backcountry enthusiasts, but trail riders alike. By simply changing between the 2 supplied 210-degree field of view polycarbonate goggle lenses, the vented mirror lenses for backcountry and the insulated yellow for trail riding, along with swapping out internal protective pieces, you can customize the helmet to your riding environment. The other really cool feature of the helmet is the latched muzzle design, as it flips open with one hand to get increased ventilation without having to take your helmet off. The unrestricted chin area also makes it better for clear communication between you and your buds when you're stopped on the trail. This is the first modular motocross style helmet we have ever seen, and it offers riders something very different from what we know, and allows full-face modular riders to make the switch to motocross without sacrificing the options that they love. Now when you're out playing, it's good to stay warm, but what about your sports cam or cell phone? Battery drain can be a huge issue, and even a safety concern. Sure, being connected can feel like we haven't got out of the office, but having accurate directions, as well as a solid ability to make a call or likewise send a text to let folks know you're okay, yeah, that's just smart. Not only does Trail Systems offer mapping software, they also offer very smart and easy-to-use packages for wirelessly charging your cell phone or wired charging of your sports cam on the fly as you ride. This allows you to not only stay safe in case of emergencies, but it keeps you connected to excellent GPS maps and coordinates. The kit I have here is for a Skidoo and includes the upper replacement lid with a built-in RAM mount adapter, as well as a cool waterproof bag to store the wireless charging system while holding your phone. It's in a heads-up location and delivers the information you need when you need it. No more fumbling for your pocket at -20 or dropping your phone in the snow. Everything's right there and charged to 100%. Being connected can keep you safer, but so will being hooked up. Traction can be an issue for all kinds of things, not just sled tracks in the wintertime. And Woody's twist screws are a great option for gaining traction. From heavy equipment to snowblower or ATV, forklift, even your boots, twist screws will add grip and increase safety on just about everything that you can think of. They require a special tool for installation, and it helps to set the depth of the screw so that you get the proper bite both in the surface you're drilling into as well as the surface you're using the traction on. Twist screws can be installed with your regular cordless drill and come in a wide variety of sizes and styles. Typically I'm working on one sled and installing many parts on that sled, but today I wanted to bring you a broad offering of cool products that I think are really going to enhance your riding experience as well as add to your safety this winter.
Closed captioning of SnowTrax is sponsored by Triton Trailers, built for adventure.
Snowmobiling history has many iconic names associated with it. Maybe it's a sled that changed the game, launched a new category, failed miserably but was interesting, or maybe it's a sled that won a ton of races. Polaris's XCR definitely fits into the last of these categories. In its day, it was extremely successful in cross-country, ice racing, and snowcross all over the globe, so it's no wonder the name has been synonymous with flat-out performance. Unfortunately for the XCR, by the time the name was discontinued, it had been applied to a long list of sleds that simply didn't deserve it. By the time it was retired, it had been watered down so far, only a hint of its original glory remained. So when we heard Polaris was reintroducing the XCR, we were both excited and a little nervous. We sincerely hoped it was going to find its way onto a sled that could live up to what the XCR name truly stands for. As with nearly everything they do in the snowmobile industry, Polaris did not disappoint with this one. The new 2017 XCR possesses all the race-ready performance its name would imply. It's interesting to note that the XCR, while aimed entirely at big bump cross-country racing, is actually based on the Pro S, not the Pro X platform. And when you understand why, it makes perfect sense. It's not meant to be a snowcross sled. Polaris themselves even admits the Pro XC chassis isn't very good on a snowcross track. The XCR is meant to be a race-ready cross-country sled that's available to the public and that can still be ridden on the trail. If you think about it, it all fits together like a puzzle. The name XCR literally stands for cross-country racer. While the sled was raced on snowcross tracks in the late 90s and early 2000s, I even raced one myself, it was always meant to be a standout cross-country racer first. To truly be worthy of the XCR name, this new model would need to handle corners as well as it handles bumps, and I can tell you with all confidence, it definitely does. The shocks can be set up soft enough to trail ride all day, or stiff enough to handle the rigors of real cross-country racing. The reason this is important is because, in reality, the majority of these sleds are going to be sold to trail riders. Extra bracing and gusseting can be found all over the vehicle, again aimed at making it capable of handling a real-life race. These types of features don't mean much to a trail rider, but add legitimacy to its race-ready status, even for a guy who just wants it for the cool factor. The XCR is available as a rush only, and it's only available with an 800 twin under the hood. An all-new, incredibly capable race-inspired braking setup, solid idler wheels, taller bar riser, and hood-mounted brake cooling scoop are all race-inspired bits that a trail rider will definitely benefit from. Riding an XCR is a lot like riding a Pro S Rush if you ride it the way you would ride a Pro S Rush. It only becomes more impressive when you start to push it harder and harder and run it through rougher and rougher terrain. This sled is fully capable of being driven full throttle through 18 to 24-inch whoops. It doesn't buck you off, it doesn't get out of shape, it just soaks up the harshness and powers right on through. I'm definitely not suggesting you try this unless you've got experience with this type of terrain. Pushing the limits of a sled like this one takes a heightened riding ability that can only be learned through trial and error, but knowing the XCR can do it is half the fun for many people, even if they never will. This type of big bump capability is largely thanks to the trickiest set of Walker Evans remote reservoir and piggyback shocks Polaris has ever offered. They're fully adjustable, and when paired with the Pro XC chassis, they make a combination that is unbeatable. The bottom line on the XCR is pretty simple and straightforward. It is a race-ready sled, period. If you wanted to get into cross-country racing, you could buy an XCR, set it up the way you want, and go race it right out of the box. But Polaris knows their customers and knew long ago the majority of XCRs would be sold to trail riders who want the cool setup and trick looks of a racer, but still need it to be trail rideable. The XCR is the best race-ready trail sled we've ever seen. It handles incredible, it's fast, comfortable, and it's got a suspension setup that's extremely versatile. In short, it can do whatever you want it to. Just make sure you're ready to handle it.
SnowTrax has been sponsored by Polaris. See endless possibilities. Arctic Cat. Share our passion. And by Northwest Ontario. What are you doing this weekend?
If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, like it and then subscribe to our page for more great content from SnowTrax TV.